Hello, and thanks for checking in again, and welcome to day 2 of your lesson on simplifying expressions. We are going to continue to work with this process because this is really super duper important as we begin our unit on expressions and equations. So again, if you're using your book, it's lesson 4.2. Of course, I want you to write these examples down, take notes. Might be handy to have a calculator nearby as we're going to be working with some negative numbers here and there, and some kids do best with a calculator. So up here in blue it says, just to refresh your memory, that to simplify expressions, we're going to be combining our like terms. And then we're going to be rewriting the expression in a simplified version. So in the last lesson that you watched, we were talking about what are like terms and identifying like terms. And today now, once we get these like terms identified, we're actually going to be combining them. We're going to be putting the ones together that can go together, and then we're going to be rewriting the expression. So it's still going to look like an algebra problem that needs to be solved. We aren't going to have final answers today like c equals 5. We won't have anything like that. So let's get going here and you can see what I'm talking about. Here we go. Over here on the left, I see the expression 4x plus 6 plus 2x. So in order to simplify this expression, what I have to do is look for the like terms. Now let's remember what like terms have. They either have the exact same variable, or like terms have no variable. So remember, that's how we find these like family members, these guys that belong together. So if I'm looking at this first expression, I see I have a 4x. His variable is x. And I'm going to scan through the rest of the expression. I'm going to see if anybody else has an x. The 6 does not, but the 2 does. So I'm going to take this 4x, and I'm going to take this plus 2x. Remember, notice how I circled that plus sign with the 2x. That plus sign belongs to that 2x, and I'm going to combine them. And 4 x's plus 2 more x's would make 6 x's, right? Because 4 plus 2 is 6. And then I look back at my expression, and I see here that I've got this plain old constant here of plus 6. He has no variable. Well, there's nobody else like him in the expression that has no variable. So I can't combine him with anyone. So he just comes down and joins and becomes part of the simplified expression. And you cannot go any further with this guy. 6x plus 6 stays just like that. You cannot combine them to say 12x because this last term, that plus 6, he doesn't have an x on him. So he's not a like term with the 6x. And your final answer is 6x plus 6. We're not solving these any further than that. We're just putting our like terms together. Let's do this guy. I've got a 5n, a plus 2, a minus n. Look at, there's our invisible 1, minus 1n, and then a minus 6. So I see that the 5n is a like term with the minus 1n. So I'm going to put those guys together. 5n minus 1n brings you to a 4n because 5 minus 1 is 4. And now I look back at my expression and I see I've got a constant, a plus 2. He has no variable. And I also see that I have another constant of minus 6 with no variable. So our no variable guys, these two guys, they can go together. And plus 2 and minus 6, so essentially you're taking 2 minus 6 on your calculator, that would give you a negative 4. Final answer. Can't go any further than that. Those are not like terms. That's your final answer, 4n minus 4. Lots more examples on this next page. Alrighty, we got a 6y and a minus 3x and a plus 6y. I see some family members. I see some like terms. This 6y and this plus 6y have the exact same variable, and you can add them together, and that will give you 12y. And that minus 3x, right here in the middle, this guy, there's nobody else like him, so you just bring him down and make him part of your final answer. So that's the simplified expression. 12y minus 3x. Final answer. Okay, look down at this next one. We've got a 4q, a plus 32p, and a plus p. Whoop, what am I going to sneak in? I'm going to sneak in that invisible 1. So I'm looking at the 4q. I don't see anybody else like him. There are no other q terms, so he just stays 4q. Now we're done with him. Then I move on, and I see I've got a plus 32p and a plus 1 more p, and those guys are like terms. They can be combined. 32 plus 1 makes plus 33. P. And P's and Q's do not go together because they are not like terms. They do not have the exact same variable. How about this next one? I see 2m plus 3 minus 7m and minus 4. Well, I see my m's. I like that 2m and that minus 7m. Let's combine those. What's 2 minus 7? It's a negative 5m. 2 minus 7 is negative 5. And I see I've got a plus 3 here with no variable. And I've got a minus 4 with no variable. So my no variable guys can go together. And what's 3 minus 4? It's negative 1. That's your final answer. Negative 5m minus 1. Can't combine those because they're not like terms. Well, this one's getting a little bit longer, huh? That's all right. We're looking for our like terms. I see 3a plus 2 plus 5a plus 7 plus 2m. Right away, I notice those a terms. I've got a 3a and a plus 5a. What's 3 plus 5? 8. Okay, I'll switch colors here. What's next? I've got a plus 2, which has no variable, and a plus 7, which has no variable, and 2 plus 7 is positive 9. And the last piece in my expression is a plus 2m, and there's nobody else like him, so he just comes down and joins my expression. And that's as far as you can go. 8a plus 9 plus 2m. We're getting there. Move this to the top of the page here. Here we go. 5x minus 3 plus 7x plus 4. All right. 5x can go with my plus 7x, and 5 plus 7 is 12. Change colors. Minus 3 has no variable, and plus 4 has no variable. And a negative 3 on your calculator plus a 4 gives you a positive 1. Negative 3 plus 4 is 1. So it's 12x plus 1. Final answer. Well, that only leaves us with one more expression that we need to simplify, and it's a pretty long one. Let's see. Well, look at this guy. Oh boy. I've got a 2xy, a plus 6x, a minus 2y, a plus x. Ooh, I'm going to sneak a 1 in there right now so I don't forget that that's plus 1 right there. A minus 5 and a plus 3xy. Oh boy. Holy cow. What's our variable on this 2xy? The variable is xy together. You have to have the x and the y together. I'm scanning through my expression and I see clear out here at the far end we have another xy. So the 2xy plus 3xy makes 5 xy's. Have to have the exact same variable. Going back to my expression, the next thing I'm looking at here is this plus 6x. Plain old x. X, x, x. Here's one here. It's a plus 1x. So what is 6x plus 1 more x? That's plus 7x. Okay, next up, I see a minus 2y. I'm looking at what's left of my expression, and there's nothing that matches with a y, so I just have to bring him down into my final answer. He cannot combine with anyone. And the last thing I see is a minus 5. That guy has no variable, and there's nobody else like him with no variable, so he also just kind of comes down and joins my simplified expression. So the simplified expression is 5xy plus 7x minus 2y minus 5. That's it. Can't go any further than that. So this is what it means to simplify expressions. We're looking for our like terms, we're adding them or subtracting them as the signs tell us to, and then we're rewriting the expression in a more simplified or condensed version. It's like you find the family members and you put them together. I hope that makes sense. And of course, in class, we will be working on an assignment together. It's not a very long assignment, and it is in your textbook, so if you want to take a look at it ahead of time, you're certainly welcome to. Otherwise, I will see you in class.